Hello artists! Today we will be making some art inspired by American artist Alexander Calder. You may know that he has made mobiles and stables, but he also made some 2D art, and that is what we are going to be working on today, is some 2D art inspired by Alexander Calder. We will be making Calder faces. To begin, we are going to need to decide on the shape of the head for the face we are going to make. I'm going to hold my paper horizontally, but you could turn your paper and do it vertically if you're going to make more of a long oval or more of the body on your picture. But I'm going to go horizontal, and I'm going to start with pretty much a circle shape. So it's going to look like this. And remember, if you're using pencil, you can erase, but I'm using permanent marker, so I can't. So that's going to be my head shape for my face. And then I can also add a neck, which is two lines that come down, and then some shoulders, and maybe I don't see the whole arm, but I can see part of it, so I can add some little upside down letter U's to show that there's arms and a torso. So that's how I'm going to start my drawing. Remember, yours could look different. Maybe yours are coming up and you can see a hand and your person's waving, or you have an oval shape, or maybe your face fills the whole page and you don't see any of the body at all. Those are all really great options. Now I'm going to add some eyes to my drawing, and I looked at some of the pictures by Alexander Calder, and these are some of the eye designs that I saw in Calder's artwork. Now you can do your own version, or you can do a version like you see here. So I think I'm going to go with this version because this is the one that I really like. So I'm just going to sort of shift my paper over a little so that I can see both the example of the types of eyes and my picture. And I'm going to put my eyes for my figure right about here. And I'm going to start that particular style by making a black circle. And then this one is going to have the swirl that comes out of it, and it goes around, and then it goes kind of down like that. And then I'm going to make sure I leave enough room and try to go over, and I'm just going to do a dot first to make sure I kind of have it in the right place, and then I'll finish coloring in that middle part of the eye, and then it's going to go around in the opposite direction. It can get kind of tricky to go opposite. So that's going to be my eye. Now after that, I can decide on what kind of nose I want. So taking a look at the different noses that I saw in some of Alexander Calder's work, I can decide on what kind of nose that I want. And I'm looking at my drawing so far, and I could easily do this nose, or even this one, or this one. This one I could do kind of in the middle. That one might be a little tricky. I think I'm going to go with this one here. So again, so that I can see my example, now I want to continue my line out and add that curly swirly part, and then a line connecting it, and that's going to be my nose for my drawing. Next, I want to look at some other facial features that we might see in Alexander Calder's art. So there weren't a lot of variations for a mouth that I saw, but these are two, and I really like the swirlies on these ones, so that's what I'm going to do for mine. And so I'm going to start with the bigger part and then go down. It's kind of like making a letter S, and then go opposite. And again, opposite is sometimes trickier. So just take your time and do your very best. And then the same kind of thing for the bottom. And again, opposite can be a little tricky. So just take your time and do your very best. Okay, so there's my mouth. And I only saw two different kinds of ears. That doesn't mean that you couldn't do a different kind of ear, but these are the two I saw in Alexander Calder's art. So I'm going to go again with that swirly. I really like the swirly. So I'm going to add 2 swirly ears, and to do this I'm actually going to start with the smaller part of the ear, and then it touches, and then it goes up, and lots of swirls in the top. And then the opposite, again, opposite can be tricky, so try to make sure that it's lined up, and then it's okay if it's not perfect, but if it's close. All right, and now I want to start thinking about other details and also the colors I'm going to add to my work. Sometimes there weren't a lot of colors, but a lot of times he used the primary colors. So these are the 3 colors we're going to focus on and adding our details. So I'm going to just move my paper over so it's in the middle again. There it is. And start adding some details. So one of the things I need to decide is if my face is going to have hair. And it doesn't have to. Sometimes they don't have hair. But if it does, then I want to add some hair. And a lot of the times the way that Alexander Calder added hair was they were kind of like these swirly flower petal, top of the sun type wavy shapes that kind of came out of the top of the head. So that's what I'm using for mine. Another thing that was in a lot of Alexander Calder's faces is they had repeating stripes. So if you are using pencil, this is a good time to switch to marker because it can be really annoying to have to go over all of your lines again with marker. So if you want to switch to your marker, if you haven't yet, now's a good time to do it. And the lines kind of just follow some of the shapes you already have. So for the eyes, I might have some lines that go around, and yours could be totally different. Your face is your own art, so remember, yours can be totally different. And if your marker is really skinny, you can make your lines thicker by just adding a second one, and just make your lines a little thicker. Sometimes it looks interesting if you have thicker lines, so I'm going to go through and just add lines to my whole drawing now. As I continue making stripes and lines on my Calder face, I'm moving on to the neck and the body. And on the neck and the body, to make it look more round and flowing, the lines start to curve a little. So as you're making your lines on your neck and the body, remember that they kind of curve a little. Okay, so I've got all of my striping done, and you can see that was most of the drawing is the black and white striping. But now it's time to add some of those primary colors. So I'm going to really think about where I'm going to put the primary colors and how I want them to look. So I'm going to start with the hair, the petals for the hair, and I'm going to just start going with some primary colors. First I'm going to start with red, which happened to be Alexander Calder's favorite color. And it's my favorite color too. And then I'm going to skip over one and do another one of them red. And I could do just a repeating pattern, or I could do just whatever, you know, it doesn't have to even be an exact pattern. So I'm going to do this one red. And even though in Alexander Calder's none of his mouths were actually colored in, but I want to color mine in. So I'm going to give mine red for the mouth, even though I know in Alexander Calder's he didn't really do that. And then I'm going to switch to yellow, and I'm going to color this one yellow. And then this one yellow. And I'm even going to add some color in the middle where the nose is to make it stand out a little bit. Okay. And then all that's left is blue, and there's not a whole lot of blue in my picture, but I'm going to make this part blue here. Okay, so those are my choices for colors. This is my artwork, but your artwork could look totally different. You might do your colors differently. You might do your lines differently. I'm really excited to see what your work looks like.